What up, y'all? This is your boy Gerald. It is the 4th of May 2016. How is everybody doing? Well, I'm up, starting my day. Well, actually, I'm not starting my day, but I'm enjoying my day off. Got my morning coffee. And no, there's nothing wrong with your screen. Gerald looks a little busted right now. And I'm okay with that because it's me. It's who I am. And I wake up with optimism, love, clarity, but I speak my truth. So how are you doing, y'all? Because I know many of y'all right now are feeling influxed. Your emotions are like a roller coaster these days because what's going on is you're seeing a lot of things that you weren't prepared for, and things are being placed before you so that you can see it. What's being required is now more than ever that you make a conscious decision to claim you. No longer are the days of being able to deflect for another moment. No longer are the days of acting like the pink elephant is not in the room. Now you are forced. You are on that crossroads and you have to make a choice. Some of y'all are understanding the importance of free will now. Now, aren't you? You know, for a long time, people had this mentality. They would say, well, you know what? If I don't speak on it, it didn't exist. If I don't give it life, it ain't real. But tell your conscience that. Tell your emotions that. Tell your behaviors that. And they will contradict what is being displayed. I know I'm talking to someone. So I wake up this morning on a nice, dreary looking day. Oh, yeah, it looked. If I didn't look at the weather, the barometer of what the temperature is projected for the day, I would think that number one, that I'm in autumn, and number two, look like we're gonna get some snow. And that's not the case. It's because this is the residual effects of what I've been saying, cloud seeding. And you know, in a far-fetched way, I kind of see a correlation there because haven't you noticed wherever the sun is not able to reach, things die? And it seems like there's been a whole lot of focus on blocking out that sun, a lot of cloud cover where there shouldn't be. But then I also know this, there's truth in everything if you're willing to look, be still, and watch what's revealed to you. And I know this is a residual effect of the weather that was in the Midwest and is finally making its way to the East Coast. And I know in about 2 weeks or so, you'll probably see the same effects in Europe. Oh yeah, that's how it goes. And I understand basic weather, understanding that's how that jet stream is. But you got to question when you're seeing things, natural things that occur, or if they will use that as a lesser word, um, when you got areas that don't receive this amount of water, rain, receiving tornadoes that were never heard, and the unbalance. I mean, when you look at it, look at this past year and a half and look at the weather, how in flux it's been. I don't believe it's by chance, but I also see it deeper too because, you know, people are getting sick. They're getting sick more than they should. And, well, somebody got to make money off of that, right? It's very, very important, y'all, that you drink your water, stay alkaline, keep your supplement, keep your vitamin level, keep your body healthy as best you can, because there are going to be some people that are not, and then there are going to be people that look like they're the picture of health, and they're going to drop dead. Like they're going to drop dead. They're just going to boom, and people are not going to understand. And I think it's a byproduct of what's going on in the environment. I really do. I really do. But this brings me back to now. I've been echoing this from day one, the importance of you loving yourself. And I've also come to educate myself that without a shadow of doubt, the greatest lesson you're going to ever learn, the greatest lesson you're going to embrace is the lesson of understanding who you are. We go through stages and phases, and a lot of them are ushered in by the people that we're connected to. But I can step back and I say that really it's the influence of the spiritual connection. You know, yes, we can turn around and doctor up how it's being displayed. We can romanticize how it's being illustrated. But bottom line, it falls back into that spiritual realm. That's where it's always been. It's just a matter of time before you are made aware of its existence. But also realize how fragile your life is truly, truly is. This last past week, I have had this thought in the back of my mind that people are starting to learn about duality, both on a physical level, but as a spiritual level. The importance of how that is connected to your spirit. Because you got to understand, this means nothing, y'all. Your body means is nothing but a means of transportation on this earthly realm. You're a spiritual person. You're a spiritual being first. And how, more importantly, people are being attacked, may it be covertly, which 9 times out of 10 it is covert, because to embrace a position of truth, that means you must be honest. I mean, at a minimum, not for them, but for yourself. Because haven't you noticed when you have a conversation with someone, and if you're not passionate about what you convey, the audience that's going to receive it won't embrace the same. They are more or less like, whatever. Why? Because that spiritual energy that's coming from you projected out. That's why, as we mature, the first thing we learn is fear. Second thing we come to understand is deflection. That's why it's convenient to, it's easier to embrace a lie because it doesn't require you to step out of your comfort zone. It's just there until you understand the ramifications of that choice. And just look in your world. Look at where you live at. Look at what's going on in your professional sense of where you work. You see a whole lot of these illustrations every day. There's some people that you can relate to, that you're tight, and then there are some that you have to coincide with, but within yourself, you wouldn't give them the time of day if you didn't have to. I believe that even in those instances, those are still reflections of what's found in your spirit, but can't be released until you're willing to be more transparent with yourself. I know I'm talking to someone. I know I am. You have tried everything you can to more or less spiritually shape shift. You tried this identity. You've tried that identity. You've connected with this person and you knew that person, but still there's something missing. You know what's missing? What's missing is you not doing what you need to do for you. There's a fear there. Fear. Finally, everything's a reality. There's a truth that that resonates inside you that either A, you are afraid to speak and embrace it, or B, it's keeping you in a position to condone it. So let's look at it from the backside. Let's say you're in a position where the climate that you're in is not for you. You know it's not for you. However, because of that climate, it may afford you opportunities that you normally may not have been privy to. Well, to some, that could be alluring. That could be like, well, I know this ain't my cup of tea, but maybe there's something I can learn from. That's the one true statement out of that. There is something you will learn from it. And what you'll learn from it, number one, is your self-worth, your self-value. But I believe a lot of you are waking up and you're tired. No, I'm not talking, some of y'all are literally doing that. Some of y'all your mind does not rest. It's constantly going. Some of y'all may be even having a perception that where you say, well, you know what? I want to rest, but I got these voices in my head. You know what that is? You know those voices in your head? That is nothing but your spirit telling you what you already know. For example, you may be in a position where you have invested maybe monetarily, physically, or socially. And because of the investment, you may say, well, I'm going to make a concession because I don't want to just throw my hands up and walk away. A lot of us do that. You say, well, I don't want to turn back. I don't want to turn back now. I've been so invested in this. I don't want to take this loss. But really what you don't understand is that is really your pride. That's really your ego saying, hey, one more moment. Nah, one more day. And you may be trying to, in your mind, give permission for whatever's going on to continue. Now, what if what is going on is disrespect? What if that is a liability, maybe financially? How about your time? Don't know who that is. Hold on. Hello? 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 No, I don't know. I don't know how that. Sorry, wrong number. Don't call here. Gotta love these robocalls, and you got people trying to get over you. Let me tell you what, y'all. Number one, right off the bat, let me put that on what I was gonna say. Make sure if you're doing any kind of business online that you have certain fail safes in place. We live in a time now that people are being more savvy, and you might not realize that everything you do is being dispersed out there on the internet. You got people that know how to take bits and pieces of your identity to try to find a way to take away from your hard-earned money, to take away from your identity, to exploit it. Protect yourself. If you're getting up every morning to go to a job so that the end goal is for you to have that nest egg, it's your responsibility to protect it. And I believe that's what's going on now, y'all, because you have some people that have proverbially tried to figure you out. They think they know you, and they're using covert means. They're using little emotional triggers to lure you away from you, only to bring in more disappointment. And that's why I titled this here. You know why? You know why people do this? First of all, number one, they see your uniqueness and they see something about you that they wish that they could be themselves, but they don't have the courage to do the work, or they choose not to do the work. So they may want to use you as a springboard. They may want to use you as collateral. They may want just to be malicious. So it's very important, y'all, that you fortify your boundaries. You know, I'm not trying to be scatterbrained right now because I understand that some of y'all have been battling something for a long time. Part of it has been yourself. The other part is your choices. Some of y'all are starting to understand how you're learning to respect free will. Because some of y'all are waking up in your pain. But on the other side of your pain is your truth. And the truth of the matter is, there's something that you need to do that has been coexisting that you must be freed from. I know I'm talking to someone. Some of y'all may be tied to someone and you know you didn't do the work. You know you didn't earn the right, and you thought you were getting over or getting by. And you're starting to see the price that was paid. You may be saying to yourself, well, this ain't my cup of tea, but I'm just going to see where this goes. And I'll just tweak as needed. And you're realizing ain't no tweak. That's who they are. And that's not where you should have been all along. I'm not taking this moment to kick dirt in your face. What I'm asking you to do is get up off the ground. What I'm asking you to do is stop looking at your environment, expecting it to change, because it's not. It will only change when you decide to change yourself. I know I'm talking to someone. You've talked to that person till you were blue in the face. You have systematically figured out what you didn't know, what you wasn't privy to. Even Stevie Wonder could see that something ain't right. And you've run out of excuses. You can't deflect anymore. But yet you're still in place. Why? Why? Why are you doing that? You thinking that, if I go to sleep tonight and wake up in the morning, they're going to be a totally different person? No, they're not. Because you haven't given them reason to. But here's the thing about it. This also is a definition or a display of your true worth, your true value. You got to ask those questions. If this is my present position, and this is the outcome that is being shown, why? If you truly have my best interest, and I have been nothing but unconditionally there, don't you think at a minimum that there should be transparency between you? That's why I say when it comes, I've had to learn this myself. The people that will be in your life, there will be a very short list of names that you can say, that's my friend. The one person that will be your friend will be your mate. And that person will be a spiritual person. No ifs, ands about it. Let me make that clear. It won't work if you have someone who has a spiritual connection compared to someone who don't. Guess what? That person who does not have a spiritual connection is robbing you of yours. Because the truth of the matter is there are aspects of their traits and personalities that attracted you guys together. That's why you see this play out all the time. You have a lot of women that have taken on this mindset of, well, I'm going to go out and find me a man. And he may fit the physical aspect, but the challenge becomes with the emotional. And she feels that it's her responsibility to influence the direction of him. Little does she know, all she's doing is inheriting more pain as well as energy from herself. She will pay a dear price to keep this person near. That's why unyoked people can't grow. Unyoked people only rob themselves of where they should have been compared to where they are. But see, you have to be honest with yourself. It doesn't matter what comes out of your mouth. It doesn't matter what you display. You can't fool the person in the mirror looking back. They know you because that's you. So tell me, explain to me why you are not smiling now. Explain to me why you feel unsafe. I'm not talking on the physical aspect. I'm talking about the emotional aspect. Why are you not safe? Because I guarantee you, a nickel to a dime, your actions and the residual effects of your actions is a byproduct of what you feel. I know I'm talking to somebody. Don't get caught up on the messenger, get caught up on the message. I'm talking to your heart. I know I look busted like hell, but I don't care. I don't care because this can be changed. The person I'm destined to be will not look like the person you hear, but there's a responsibility and a payment in time that has to be paid. I know that. I used to dread that too because I knew that eventually I'm going to have to pay that off by way of time and dedication. But it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. But haven't you noticed the people that have control issues don't have control in their lives? They're the most impulsive people you'll ever come to meet. And the funny thing about it, their traits are very nomadic. Kind of like, out in the ocean, you see crabs on the ocean floor, and they'll find a shell and they live in it, and then after a while they'll drop that and they'll go scurry around and they'll try to find something else, and they'll live in that and they'll scurry around and eventually they'll find something else until something that they unforeseen comes along and takes them. You don't want to be the prey, but there are plenty of predators out there. And so you got to understand something. That's one thing about I've come to understand too. See, if you weren't unique, which you are, if you weren't beautiful, which you are, no one would have given a damn about your existence. But opportunists love that. They love that. Yes, they do. Because they swoop in like vultures. They're sitting on that telephone line and they watch it. They watch for a long time. In the opportune moment, they just swoop in. Because you have something to offer, something that will benefit them. It could be your body. It could be who you know. It could be what's found in your pocket. It could be what you have materialistically. They don't waste their time on things that are dead. they can't benefit from. They're not going to do that. It takes the thrill away. And every time they're able to tweak, mold, or motivate, that's a feather in their cap. So you have to come to terms and understand this. They didn't ask you to make excuses for them because they're comfortable in their skin. But what they're not comfortable is the repercussions that will eventually come back. Because see, we all reap what we sow, y'all. We all do. You can't run from that. Sooner or later, you're going to have to account for every choice you've made. That's why you wake up every day. Because you wake up because you have unfinished business. So that's why I convey to each and every one of you. Stop running to try to catch up with the Joneses and be yourself. Because no one can be you. Because you were made perfect the moment you took your first breath. I know I'm talking to someone. But when you choose to deflect, to not invest, and just buy time, guess what? You may think that you are doing what's best, but you'll come to understand that everything that you overlooked, everything that you just took to the side and take what I need and throw the rest, those same things that you threw away, you're going to spend twice as much energy going back trying to get it. I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, but you're not supposed to be spending your days in tears. I know I'm talking to someone. You're not supposed to be spending your moments trying to hide that bruise or how to figure out why your body feel this way, why you walk around sore, why they said what they said, why they took what they took. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to love you. Ask yourself, why do you not think you're worth loving yourself? And when you come to that conclusion, why won't you love you? And I'm not talking about the position of being selfish, because selfishness is made out of fear. Because when a person chooses to be selfish, they're saying through their actions, you're not worth nothing. You're not worth my truth. You're not worth my transparency. So therefore, they can't value your existence. I know I'm talking to someone. You sitting over there feeling a certain kind of way, and they will never have a clue of the emotional state that you have. That's controlled by you. Mind you, these are the same people that say, I'm going to ride and die for you. I got your back. But every time your back's to the wall, you can't find them. All I'm trying to get you to understand is, if you're going to judge, what you should not do, make it the same merit as you judge yourself. That's what duality is all about. That's what the laws of attraction is all about, is understanding free will by understanding the things you would attract to yourself. You got to understand, it starts with the soul, the core of who you are, not the person you walk out into the world to be. That's a front, that's a shell. Remember I told you 3 weeks ago, I made a comment. I said, doesn't matter how much money you got when you're sick. Doesn't matter who you know when you're down. It doesn't matter where you've been when you're lost and what happened the next week. Prince passed away. Couldn't. What's going on now, y'all? There's some vultures sitting on the telephone pole, ready to swoop in. But what is a man to inherit the earth by way of losing his soul? Or I'd break it down even better. What is the value of your time given to someone who can't value it? It's the same. It's going to cost you something. But if you're choosing to do this, I know I got issues, Gerald. You know, I got hangups. We all got hangups. So I choose to, you know, I got my drinks. Sometimes I get high. So sometimes I hang with them. But when you finish giving all that energy up, not alone your time, your assets, whatever you value. When the clarity comes, you're still right where you were. What is a man to inherit the earth by losing his soul? You want love? You want unconditional love? It starts with you. That's like looking through the world. That's like looking at the world through a peephole. When you start to love yourself, that means you got to stop lying to yourself. Stop enabling your environment and taking accountability for your choices, free will. Your perspective will grow. Your heart will fill up. Your peace of mind will come. Your validations will be seen. And fear will be an afterthought. Because all of that is divinely done. Every bit of it. But if you don't do these things, guess what happens? The things that you do not need have placed a footing in your life to direct it. I know I make light of it, and I try not to, but I know the truth too. Some of y'all are in a reality where you're not living your life. You know it. That's why that void is there. Sure, from the people on the outside, you seem like you are the next best thing to apple pie, but behind closed doors, you're a prisoner in your own mind. When you shut the door, you literally take that false identity and hang it up like a raincoat. And the sentence continues. The solitude does not stop. You think that's supposed to be your reality? It's not. But I understand that some people say, well, Gerald, I got to do this because it's going to benefit them. Wrong. Women do it all the time. Men do it too, but more prevalent, women do it all the time. You know, and it took me a long time to understand this. It did. If you're making a choice to align yourself with anybody, and there's no, it's not genuine. There's an ulterior motive. the price paid is going to be far more than the possession of what you're trying to attain. Plus, whatever you're trying to attain will become your lesson. Oh, you with him because he lets you drive his car and watch what happens. The car starts to have problems. Oh, he gives you money because you don't want to earn it yourself, and everything that you touch falls apart. Why? Because it's not blessed. That's how it works. That's why when you look at people who idolize celebrities and embrace these false personas, say, well, I can do it because she does it. Well, you will never hear them say, I do it because of you. So why does it surprise you when people fall from grace? Pretty much people fall because they're not in grace, because the devil will always give you what you want, but never what you need. That's why some of you right now, you're holding on to a scar. You got that scar there because you know that that's a reminder of where you should have never been. Some of you have nightmares that you can't shake. You can't shake it. And you're getting to a point where you're losing self, and you say, well, what's the point? This is my reality. This is all it's going to be. And I'm here to tell you, you're wrong. You're wrong. That ain't your reality. That's the devil trying to convince you to not grow. The devil's a liar. That's why the devil controls the media. He controls anything that has to do with sight, beauty, allure, temptation, lust. These are his tools. That man came into your life, but little did you know, you manifested him because one day you said, I want a man that fill in the blank. And there he was, only to bring you 2 steps further from where you began. Do you remember what your life felt like before they came in it? Now remember that vulture that was sitting on the telephone pole. See, they weighed the risk. They leveraged the cost, and then they swooped down on you to try to take you further from where you are intended to be. I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, but I'm just telling the truth. Some of y'all are dealing with addiction problems. Here's the funny thing about it, and I say this figuratively. Right now, we're having an uprising of drug addiction. But you don't never hear anybody talk about sexual addiction. Why is that? Why is that? That's the number one addiction right there. That's why pedophilia is so rampant. That's why molestation and incest occurs, because it's a derivative of lust, a derivative of fear, a derivative of pain and control. The people that do it have control issues. They use it as a tool. That's why sodomy is so rampant now. He doesn't even know your middle name, but he knows what your rectum looks like. I know that's risque, but I'm telling the truth. He's got you swinging from the chandeliers, but he doesn't want to uplift your life through his actions. What's wrong with that? Because people have a disposable mindset of, well, I saw what I wanted, I took it. You should be treasured. You should be nurtured. Oh, that thought. Excuse me. Thank you for your patience. I just thought about something too. You know, one thing I realized too, people always say they want truth in their relationships and connections, but no one wants to pay the price of truth. So if you're not willing to pay the price to have truth, you'll never be transparent, which means you must be vulnerable, starting with yourself. And I've had people say, well, Gerald, you can't be vulnerable with everybody. That's right, because the process is earned through time, because time shows all. It has to, because that's something we have no control of. We can try to manage time, but you can't get time back. But it is your responsibility to learn from it. And I realized something too. And I challenge everybody. I challenge this to you. You in a relationship? Sit down with your mate and ask them, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Now, if this person genuinely loves you, they'll put it on tape. They will tell you what they need to tell you. Because number one, you can't have a relationship with secrets. That's why when you have somebody that wants to lock their phone up, lock up their technology, why would you do all these things if the person that is tied to you, because it's a tie, should have your best interest? That right there is the number one indicator that you are in a relationship inside yourself. That also will show you, unfortunately, that that person has an underlying agenda, unbeknownst to you. But I will say this too. It doesn't matter how much bad choices you have made. Unconditionally, God loves you. He loves you because he created you. You exist because of him. So you're going to always have one person that will always be there, no matter what you say or do. They're there. But if you don't have a connection, which is required from you, you'll never see your purpose. If you are in your 50s and you still don't understand why you exist, it's because you don't know what your purpose is. And that's a problem because there's a block. There's a block. You know it's a block, and it's cost you your vitality, your resources, and your time. If you're spending one moment confused, feeling unsupported, or you feel uninspired, I told you day one. Number one, you ain't supposed to be there. Because everything that's intended to for your life will be given to you in the measurement of time. God will never give you nothing you can't withstand, but God will not give you nothing to watch you squander either. He won't do that because he's going to protect you from you. That's where humility comes from. That's why I say this too, my kings. Stop blaming her for her bad behavior. When the truth of the matter is, you should have never heard her breathe. Because all she's doing is becoming a living illustration of what's found in you. So the real question is, why won't you change? The easy part is changing the environment and the people that are in it. The hard part is changing what is found inside yourself. I know I'm talking to someone. And the real question should be why you don't think you're worth it. We're in the harvest season, y'all. A lot of people are seeing it. They don't understand it, but they're seeing it. You're seeing things that you may have saw long ago. All of a sudden, boom, right in front of you. And you're seeing it. You don't understand why you're seeing it now for your validation. You may be running into people that had a significance unbeknownst to anything that you've ever known. And without a word being said, you see they've gone through something. They've aged before you. To some, that could be a stark reality. To some, that will downright make you shiver because there was nothing you could do about it. And really, when you think about it, and that's why I tell people too, stop using the word love if you don't mean it. I know I'm talking to some. Stop using that as a cliche. And you say, why, Gerald? Because when you love someone, Love, guess what? Love never dies. It transforms. But if you don't love yourself, you don't understand the power of that word. Because words have power, y'all. They do. That's why you hear people will use the cop out. Well, you changed. No, they didn't change. You didn't invest time to know them. You gave yourself cavalierly for what? More pain? More disappointment? Mm-mm. Your soul's not for sale. Never was. Nor is your legacy. Nor is your direction. But nobody is going to do your work. But there'll be plenty of people that will come into your life to distract you from it. Do you realize that as you get older, you're going to start to fall into that parallel where you'll start to hear about such and such died today, and those memories flood back, and you're saying to yourself, if I only had just that moment, if I could only have been in that room, if I only said what I should have said. That's what regret is about. Your life's not a regret. Your life's a blessing. And I think some of y'all are dealing with that. Because you know who wins on that? The devil. He does. He likes it when you're stubborn. He loves it when you're judgmental. He loves it when you embrace resentment. He loves it when you use manipulation. He loves that. Why? Because he knows it's going to take you more efforts to heal, to undo it. If you're going down a road that you shouldn't be going on and you constantly see dead end signs, another part of the road is not going to come after that dead end. You're going to have to make a conscious decision to stay in the midst of that or humble yourself to turn back around. Some people can't do it. Some people will unfortunately die a life unclaimed, a direction unknown, a purpose unfilled. And that's the thing. Let's think about the word purpose. Purpose means responsibility. So think of it this way. Think of the things that you willfully choose or have chosen to leave undone. Realize the knowledge and education and communication that comes unfulfilled. I'll do one better. Why do you think this generation now is displaying the behaviors they are now? It's because of things undone, things left by chance. Nothing happens by chance. But that vulture sitting on that telephone line knows that. Because, see, they never saw your worth to begin with. They saw you as a commodity. They saw a person that did not love themselves. So therefore, they saw you as an object for their disposal. That's not your life. It never was. You sticking around so that they can willfully disrespect you. Why? Because of what they make you feel like? Really? So let's flip it. Imagine what your life would be like when the one came in it, the one that placed God first in everything. You got to understand, the person that's destined to come into your life already knows your name. It's in their spirit, it's written on their heart. But God is not going to give you that person so you can squander it. So that's where inverted pain comes too, because deep down inside you feel this void. You with them, but spiritually in your mind, you want to be with them. I know I'm talking to someone. Have gotten so complacent to see the breadcrumbs of life that you left behind. And little do you know, you've repeated a cycle. I kind of understood why Usher made that song, You Remind Me. You remember? You remind me of a girl. Remember that? And you said, well, you start aligning yourself with people that remind you of that person. This didn't matter. What reminded you is the spiritual connection that you had. I know I'm talking to somebody, but we've conditioned ourselves through time to say, well, because you're not worth my truth, I'll just dumb it down. I'll water it down and I'll just say, I have a type. Do you realize when you use those terms, you take away from yourself? We do it all the time because what's required is truth. I challenge anyone hearing my voice. Go one day, just start one day. Try to go the whole day just telling the truth. And I guarantee you will feel a liberation in your spirit unlike any other. Now the devil's going to say, you better not do that. You better not do that. Because if you do that, he going to throw you out on the street. If you do that, she going to take away that, that, what you liked, because you didn't earn it with your own merits. So who's the slave? Because you're allowing it to happen. I know I'm feeling your energy. I know you're not supposed to be going through this. And that's why I convey to each and every one of y'all this. A byproduct of your life is not the ability to give life to your depression. I know I'm talking to someone. You've been depressed for such a long time that it has a life. You realize that's your alter ego. You know that, right? That's what that is. An alter ego is the ability to act and display without empathy. Some people look at that as false courage. Celebrities use that too. They call it personas. And common everybody, typical people, you and me, will even do this online. It's called having different profile names. And that profile, because words have power, people do it all the time. That's why catfishing is the way it is today. Because see, that person that does not have the courage to speak their truth. So they have to steal it. But you'll come to understand you were the one being robbed the whole time. Every day that you choose not to claim your life, every day that you choose not to invest that precious time that makes you you, you can't get the air back that you are expelling. You can't. You can't get that heartbeat back once it's occurred. How about that beautiful mind? But you put more focus on what they created in your actions. Oh, he wants me to talk and act a certain way. So you're basically saying that the person who you really are is not good enough. So you must play a role, play a part. Who's the fool? And I say that with love, because really, they're the coward. If you're waking up this morning and your life is not where it should be, it's time for you to have that conversation with God. It's time. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Mister. I got ice in my veins. I'm hard. I ain't. And cats that talk that are the most fragile. Oh, you're a tough guy now because you have a gun. You have an object that has no life. It's a byproduct. No different, no powerful than that cell phone. Haven't you noticed when you interact with someone that through means of keystrokes can say and do whatever, and then when you are in front of them, they're a shell of who they projected themselves because they want you to believe. They need you to believe in that because they choose not to believe in themselves. That's not your walk. It never was. So, as I said this before, my queens, the moment that you decide to love yourself, your life is going to change. But see, right now, if you should, it should be very evident now that socially, society doesn't give a damn about you and never has, and has looked at you as a commodity for revenue. And why would you allow someone who has never heard you breathe define you? Because there's an insecurity found within you, and to have a sense of wanting to belong with them. Do you realize? And I say, I'm gonna be generous. In 20 years, all that modification that you've elected, you're gonna have to go and get that undone. See, when God created you, He made you perfect. There were some requirements that came with that. You you say, well, Gerald, you don't understand. I'm top heavy. My back hurts. Okay, but are you eating right? Are you resting? If you're functioning through life, if your day to day is 4.5 hours of sleep, but you're required to have 8 because you spend so much time on here, you're not living your life. Hmm? I'm just saying, the world is going to function after this is long and gone. The, the world was before this existed. But what about your life? So now, more importantly, we live in an era where the Jezebel spirit is rampant. Hmm. Some people say, "Well, Gerald, I got a voice. If the excuse me, if the men can do it, why can't I do it?" Queens, please understand what I'm telling you. This they put these things out so that ultimately they can get your money. The more and more that you choose not to invest in your life, the more and more money that you spend. Do you not see the coincidence or the correlation? Well, here's the sad part. The man that's divinely supposed to be in your life don't care about all that. You could be, everything could be standing at attention. You could be alluring to the eye. Guess what? You'll never get married. But you'll have countless, countless men that will gladly lay on top of you, gladly deplete the things that make you. You didn't get them stretch marks. Yeah. Why you think you got those stretch marks, Queen? Hmm. That's how that's a byproduct. That's why I made I alluded to the metaphor of Prince, thieves in the temple. Notice thieves don't care about what damage they do. They want access to the foundation. The foundation, the temple is your body. The foundation is your spirit that is built off of. And you walk around feeling all shook because he treated you like a prostitute. You feel in a certain kind of way because he extorted you because of a willful behavior you you went along with. Those guys will never see your worth because those guys should have never heard you breathe. But the one, that divine one, that one that loves God, is the only one that can protect you from you, protect you, protect your heart, and show you a love unlike anything you've ever come in contact. But I, unless you see your worth, until you see your worth, you know what's going to happen? You're going to be just like those women you see on TV. Every one of those women are broken. Every one of them. And every one of them have a body count unlike any other. Every one of them. I don't care who you pick. That's why if you look at them long enough, you'll see them change. They have to, because they have to play the part to stay where they're at. Haven't you noticed they start off innocent, and then when it's said and done, they look like they just stepped off of a street corner, just came out of a brothel? Guys do it all the time. Why? So you can attract more Johns. And what do Johns do? Spend money. Why? Because they know, because men are able to have sex without emotional connection. Women cannot. That's why cheating always has a price. That's why you pay a price far more than you could ever imagine. You say, well, you know, Gerald, I wasn't happy with him, so I tapped into my starting five and I pulled him from the bench. The commonality is you slept with him and God knows who else. The commonality is none of them loved you, and you were their sacrifice, may it be physically, emotionally, spiritually. You supposed to go through that? Nope, he ain't. But I'm gonna bring this home because my parents. I'm not gonna tell you how to raise your kids, but I will say this though: stop being their friend and be the parent you're supposed to be. Even though maybe your parents weren't parents for you, even though they may not have shown you, you owe it to your lineage. That's your lineage right there. Establish a dialogue so that they can talk to you. Because the things that they don't talk to you about, guess what? The streets get that. The streets get that. Ain't nothing worse. And that's why you got these reality shows, these talk shows. She 18, but she with that 45-year-old. What's wrong with that? Personally, I think that's a slap in the face of any father because you're not protecting her from her. You think he care about that? He doing the same thing that you doing. Why? Because he has a status, so he gets a pass. Come on. And I know somebody's gonna say, "Well, Gerald, that's why women like older men because the guys their age are not on that level." Okay, but it's not your right as a woman to go seek a man out. I told y'all that 4 years ago. It's your responsibility to prepare for the one, because he is going to have the keys to the other side of your life. Them fools, their job is to destroy it. He told you he was going to help you get your finances on point. Never happened. But he done been in every dark place he can find that you possess. What's wrong with that? It ain't love. That's Stockholm syndrome. You giving him a pass. You giving her a pass. So now, and I'm sorry, you can take it how you want. I love God. You got women that are being reared in a society where they say, well, you know what? I don't want a man, I want a woman. But you act like a man. You act like a man. They say imitation is flattery. But if God wanted you to have that or be that, he would have made that. Because God don't make mistakes. So there go them thieves in the temple once again. I'm sorry, y'all. Some of y'all ain't gonna feel me on that, but look, I'm a spiritual man. What's in the Bible? You don't see no addendums in the Bible. You don't. But it is your responsibility to do the research yourself. That's okay. That's okay. When you decide to stop leveraging your heart, you'll grow. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, for that, it helps me discern mine. We're all on borrowed time, y'all. And when you take your last breath, what will your story say? Your life is the pen. Be blessed.